Welcome back, Golly Vibes family. I pray everybody's doing good, had a good day, or starting to have a good day. Today's episode is going to be very, very interesting because we're going to jump on the topic of the new mayor of New York City, Zohran Mamdani. New mayor of New York City, the first Muslim mayor of New York City. Not the first Muslim mayor, there's been different Muslim mayors, but the first Muslim mayor of New York City. Just won last night. We're going to go over a couple of his policies, a couple things that he's pushing as far as, what he's in, and the different agendas that he has for New York City. It gets very interesting. First, I want to talk about how 50 Cent is not a fan of this. He's not a fan of this decision whatsoever. But 50 Cent is not a fan of it because of different reasons, which I'm going to show you in just a second. 50 Cent posted on his Instagram, RIP NYC, founded 1624, died 2025. He's really not a fan of this situation. Now, let's just jump into the video of Zohran talking about 50 Cent and the reason 50 Cent is not happy about the decision that has just been made. Check out this video.
To address 50 Cent. And he's a critic.
He's a critic
of high taxes.
But let me tell you.
Go ahead and then we'll play it. Go ahead.
I didn't even know what my salary would be until I opened up Instagram and I saw this thing, which was like 50 Cent offers Mamdani X amount of money.
Yeah.
I was like, that's a very specific amount of money. And I was like, oh my God.
So now we'll do this in reverse order.
Sorry.
He said, I'll give you $258,000 and a first class one-way ticket out of New York. That's what you're referencing. So you know that. Here's what you did say, though, in a serious kind of policy radio interview. Let's take a look.
And I know if 50 Cent is listening, he's not going to be happy about this. He tends to not like this tax policy, but I want to be very clear. This is about $20,000 a year. It's a rounding error. And all of these things together, they make every New Yorker's life better, including those who are actually getting taxed.
What do you say to him now where, and by the way, he has moved out of the city, but he's a classic New Yorker. I'm sure you like some of his songs.
Oh, man. It's actually tough for me in that way.
So where does this debate go?
Incredible songs.
Because his argument, and it's fun, but it's also what we hear from certain people. His argument is there are a lot of people in New York who make a lot of money because they contribute a lot, and you're going after them. What do you say to him tonight?
You know, what I would say to you, 50, if you are indeed watching, or anyone else who's watching this show, is I continue to think that having the top 1% of New York City, who are making more than $1 million a year, having them pay 2% more for an economic agenda that would transform every New Yorker's life, including their own, is something that is worthwhile. And the reason I say including their own is when you see a city like ours that is underfunding its city agencies, that is pulling back on the most basic things like library services and trash cans, everybody feels the knock-on effects of that. And my job as someone who believes deeply in the public sector is to ensure that we're delivering public excellence. And that means every dollar that we raise, I want to be able to prove to you that it's every dollar that's being well spent. That's the relationship there. And I do have to say, even though we have a disagreement on tax policy, every time I get a death threat, I still listen to Many Men. It's true.
Well, you take Many Men for motivation. I was going to say your answer sounds a little bit like clickety-clank, clickety-clank, the money goes into my piggy bank.
Wow.
And if we had more time...
They're naming 50 Cent songs, by the way, for those who didn't know what was going on. So 50 Cent is not okay with his decision because Zohran plans on taking money away from a lot of individuals who actually do a lot of funding for New York City. Somebody put this in great perspective. I also want to say there are many Muslims who are not happy with the Zohran decision as well. And they don't believe Zohran is a real Muslim, right? And you wonder why. Well, things like this. I had a discussion with somebody yesterday who was happy about Zohran winning the election. And I'm like, that's not a real Muslim. Like, Zohran is not a real Muslim. Either that or is this some kind of taqiyya going on? But I don't believe he's a real Muslim. He's somebody like, how can I put it? An individual who just calls himself a Christian, but is with abortion, with transgenderism, all this nonsense. He's somebody who calls himself a Muslim. He's a Muslim by calling himself a Muslim, but his actions aren't. He's okay with transgenderism. He's okay with prostitution. He's okay with all kind of different things that's just not okay in Islam. right? Let's look at a couple things that Zoran actually agrees with. Zoran Mamdani, the New York State Assembly member and Democratic nominee, a recent winner for NYC mayor, has consistently expressed strong support for transgender rights throughout his political career. As a Democratic socialist representing a diverse Queens district, he has positioned himself as an ally to the LGBTQ community. That's not Muslim. Okay? I don't know who trying to tell you that. That's not Muslims aren't allies with the LGBTQ community. It blows my mind how a lot of them think that. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's like a lot of people don't read different books that are with different religions, right? And I say this to say this. I say that to say this. A lot of people in that community, they were probably raised in churches. They know what the Bible says. They know what the Bible instructs. They know that the Bible goes against this. So they do not like Christians because of this fact. And then they feel like they can lean more towards Islam because they don't know what that book says. You understand? But in all actuality, there's an agreement upon this situation. Neither Christians nor Muslims are allies with LGBTQ community. Neither one. Neither one. But they don't know that because they don't know the Quran. They're simply acting out of ignorance or even thinking that. A person who's in that community and thinks that, they're acting out of a space of ignorance. They don't know. But they know the Bible. Particularly emphasizing protections against discrimination and access to healthcare. Access to healthcare, we're going to jump on that right now. It's absolutely ridiculous. And decriminalizing of survival strategies often targeted trans people of color. It's like the same stuff that Kamala and Biden was on. His advocacy is rooted in addressing systemic issues like policing, housing instability, and federal threats under the Trump administration, framing trans rights as intertwined with border fights for racial, economic, and immigrant justice. Absolutely ridiculous. Sounds like it may be good if you don't know what this actually means. Campaign promises and public stance. This is his campaign promises and his public stance. This is the agendas that he's trying to push, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're listening. Turn your ears on. As a mayoral candidate, Mamdani released a detailed LGBTQ platform in 2025, pledging to make NYC a sanctuary city for queer and trans residents amid federal attacks. Key commitments include, nobody wants to make any city, well, I'm not going to say nobody, but for the most part, people don't want to make any place a place of fear for anyone. You are your own person. You have your own life. What you decide to do after you turn 18 is your decision. I don't need to judge you for it. The Lord will. Unless you call yourself a Christian, then it's up. Same for this thing. I'm going to show you guys a group of Muslims who don't agree with this dude too. Because they're real Muslims. If you call yourself a Christian and you are aligned with this type of stuff, I should be the first person to confront you. Because you're calling yourself a brother, but in actuality, you're a hypocrite. Check this out. $65 million for trans healthcare. This is his public stance. This is his promises. $57 million to expand gender-affirming healthcare citywide. You know what that means? That means if you want to have procedures as a man to become a woman, he's backing it up with millions of dollars. They call him a Muslim. This is disrespectful to Islam, if you ask me. Via public medical centers, plus $8 million for new resources, countering private hospitals. Capitulation to Trump-era restrictions. Office of LGBTQ community. We got to make nickname for that. A dedicated city agency to coordinate services and advocacy. Dignity for incarcerated trans people. Legislation ensuring respectful treatment in prisons. Meaning, this is the same stuff Kamala Harris was on. If you are somebody who identifies as a woman, they're going to help you in women's jail. Give you shots, give you everything you need in a women's jail if you identify as a woman. I showed you guys a story not too long ago with a man who identified as a woman in women's jail and ended up getting 2 prisoners pregnant. Then he got shipped back to a male jail and then tried to sue for discrimination. Okay, you can't make this up. The world is turning into a complete circus. And people like this want to help. That's why it was good to have Kamala not win. Because then what happened? A bill was passed that there's only 2 genders. Who didn't know that? The world was starting not to know that. The world was coming into a full blemish and confusion. Now you got individuals like this who's trying to push the same exact thing that they were trying to push. Confusion. This dude isn't part of no religion. He has the title of one to get the votes from people who call themselves that. That's what it is. This is like Barack Obama getting votes from black people. But in actuality, he didn't do anything for black people. He did everything for this, for these same individuals. Wake up, Muslims! Youth housing investments, millions to support trans youth housing, honoring groups like Street Transgender Action Revolution. That's his agendas. That's what he's trying to push. Godless activity. It's the same guy marching in pride parades. It's the same guy marching in pride parades. This is Iran Mamdani holding a transgender flag. It's a man, by the way. I think we have to get into a place where we both agree this isn't nobody's man's. As far as anybody in a religion, this man is not a real Muslim. And if you are a real Muslim, you should be the first person confronting this hypocrite. I don't care if he calls himself. Like I said, this is like the Barack Obama situation. Everybody that was black wanted to vote for Barack Obama because he was black. Become the first black president. Same with this situation. Everybody wants to vote for him who's Muslim because he's Muslim. Become the first Muslim mayor of New York City. The ignorance on people when somebody is identifying as somebody that is just like you. When in actuality, they're not. They're hypocrites. They're only the same as you in title, not in deed. I don't play those games no more. I don't care if you say you're a Christian or not. If your actions don't show such, you are not. Let's take a look at some Muslims who actually are saying this dude's not a Muslim.
We are Muslims against Mamdani. Ask us why.
Why are you against Mamdani?
First of all, do you know that Mamdani is supporting decriminalization of prostitution?
No. We don't want that.
No, we don't want that.
Which is an NYC law that prostitution is not allowed.
Yeah.
And we are against it because every single religion of the world against prostitution creates morality issues. It brings a lot of disease. Do you want that?
No.
No.
That shouldn't be happening at all.
When there is prostitution, there is a human trafficking.
I had no idea.
When there's a human trafficking, there's a drug trafficking. Can you imagine what he's doing?
Honestly, I don't agree with that. What made you want to do this type of thing?
Because he's Muslim and we are Muslim and we are saying you're doing a wrong thing. It's against the law, it's against the faith. And he's defunding the police.
That's what I heard.
That's true. So you're from New York, right?
Yeah.
As you know how much crime is going on.
Yeah.
Imagine if you have less police, do you feel safe at that time?
I don't think so.
Police working very bravely, very tirelessly for our community to keep us safe.
No need to give the salary to police. Why? There will be no jail. There will be no police. You just imagine.
I actually love your point because I didn't know that.
You can't give somebody like that power.
Zach, you guys are Muslims too, and you guys don't support him.
He's not Muslim.
Right.
He does not. He's self-proclaimed Hindu.
Whenever he goes to a mosque, he says, I'm a Muslim. Whenever he goes to a mandir, Hindu mandir, he says, my mother was Hindu. He is misleading people. Just want to get the vote.
He lies about everything, basically.
Yes.
It's all that propaganda, you see what I'm saying? They want to get the people riled up.
He's an American who hides behind the concept of a religion.
Yeah, correct. He's using it, everything.
He is the wrong person to be a mayor for this great city.
He can say many things, but actuality he will not be able to establish fair policy.
If you're against Mamdani, then who are you with?
I am voting for Como.
Como is our right mayor.
I think we're all on the same page.
You guys being out here is really cool because I gotta learn from people that are older, people that have more wisdom. So it's like I really respect and I really honor what you're doing.
It was great meeting you guys.
Nice meeting you.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
So, what do you think? That Mamdani should be the mayor?
I don't think so.
I'm not his fan.
Should they vote Mamdani or Como?
Kumo.
Como.
Come on board.
So here's the questions, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the question, ladies and gentlemen. Are you going to vote for somebody because, well, the voting's over, but would you vote for somebody because they say that they're the same thing you are, but in actuality they're a hypocrite? The last thing I would want is somebody to be in a position saying that they're a Christian when they are a hypocrite. It's the last thing I'd want because it would make us look like fools. Shouldn't be what you want. Absolute ridiculousness. I want you to see this girl talk that I seen who was breaking out different things that made a lot of sense, because Zoran is talking about taking money from different individuals. He wants more percent to come out of their taxes, but they're going to move. They're like, yo, we're out of here. A lot of them already moved. What are you going to do when all of them move? If they're that rich, they can leave New York City.
My friends, we are going to freeze the rent for more than 2 million rent-stabilized tenants.
So let me get this straight. You want to freeze the rent and you also want to fund the education system. That contradicts because property taxes fund education programs. Yeah. So if you have less property taxes, you have less money for schools. So if I cannot make improvements in my property because there's a freeze rent, because I don't have any more resources or budget or funds or cushion to make improvements, then the property value stays capped. And if the property value stays capped, so do the taxes. But go on.
And use every resource at our disposal to build housing for everyone who needs it.
There's another fallacy, because how are you going to get the resources? The 1%ers in New York make up 50% of the threshold to fund these programs. Okay, and if they're leaving as of 2018 to 2022, not counting 23, 24, 25, or 26, 125,000 New Yorkers already left. And they make up 50% of the threshold to fund these programs. So where are you going to get the money from? The federal government already said they're going to cut you off if Mamdani wins. So where are you going to get this from? I'm wondering. Please go on.
We are going to eliminate the fare on every single bus line.
That's another lie. Because how is it that you're going to fund the bus lines and their upkeep if the fares themselves pay for the upkeep? How are you going to pay for an upkeep of a bus? Why don't you just tell the people that the ones that are really going to be paying it, it's going to be them. It's going to be the taxpayer. It's going to be the average mom and dad that goes to work. Tell them. You don't want to tell them that, right? Because that would really put you at a disadvantage. Why don't you just let Mayor Adams take the lead on this one and you sit this one out? And go back to your Spotify career, whatever it is that you were doing before. You know, or we could talk about your father, part of the SNCC in college, who was also affiliated with the Black Panther and wrote many books on his love and admiration for Karl Marx. Why don't you tell us about that? Listen, it's clear as day. Anybody with common sense will see that this plan is not going to work. You cannot promise free everything when the people that provide for these programs to exist with their tax dollars are leaving. Doesn't make sense. Empty promises. You're full of shit. You're a communist. Your father's a socialist, and you're just trying to make him proud. Don't do it.
Lies, lies, and more lies, ladies and gentlemen. Honestly, I feel bad for New York City. But that's the decision that they made. So we'll see how the next 4 years goes with a liar. We'll definitely see. Either way it goes, ladies and gentlemen, I encourage you to stay in a good place with God. Stay getting filled with light, with peace. Hallelujah. Continue to stay on that walk, in the journey of being submitted to the Lord. Amen. God bless. Shalom.